The pea pie.
The pea pie. I want some pea pie.
Oh, hey, look at that. We're up and running.
I think I get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just string them up.
Love it, guys. Howdy. Welcome to this week's episode of Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys. My name is Viko, the bearded one. You can call me JT for short. As always, I am joined by my magnificent co-host, Alex the Jarl Martinez.
Magnificent now.
Ooh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
That was like a title upgrade.
Oh, man, I know. I hold on real
I
quick.
think
I
the
gotta
C. I
tell
think the
everybody.
C in isn't the C in that a hard C? I'm
I
just
think
saying.
so. Oh yeah, it's a
Definitely
hard C.
It's a
Hard C for sure.
And as a special guest this week on the episode, we've got the Silver Fox himself,
Ooh la la.
Ryan
It's
Doc Sim.
special in so many ways.
Oh man,
Not
he's
just
so
the special guest, but he's special.
He's
And he's special.
he's super special.
Special. And I have needs. I'm just saying.
Wow.
And in good form, I would like to start off with what are we drinking tonight, gentlemen?
Ooh.
Let's start off with Alex. What do you got there?
It's actually kind of embarrassing, but it's tasty.
Uh-oh.
And who would I be to hate? It's a Uinta hard seltzer.
Oh,
Ooh.
solid. Oh, okay.
And it's a raspberry.
Oh, it's a raspberry.
It's a
Is there a-
raspberry.
Is that transgender pink?
No, dude, I left the tranny fluid at the
Tranny
store.
blue?
Yeah, I left the tranny blue. I'm just wearing the tranny blue shirt.
Oh, love it. And Rye, what are you drinking, man?
Well, a silver fox should meet with a swamp fox, so I'm having some Palladium Swamp Fox IPA.
Hell yeah. And
Ooh.
I've got a Galley's peach beer, and it's actually
Ooh.
solid.
Fancy fucking IPAs. Fucking,
Mine's just a regular beer with the taste like peach.
I'm
See this
talking
thing?
about the silvery fellow on the other
Could
side
eat
of my
it.
screen.
I could eat a peach for hours.
I could eat
Facts.
a peach for hours.
Same. Absolutely.
Oh, plus, the regular standby,
Ooh,
Some
la
natties.
la.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look. Stand by.
There it is.
I do things right the first time. I don't need a standby.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some recap to do. Rye, I don't think you got a chance to listen to the Bach After Dark, but we had the boat on. That was a great
Oh.
experience. Yeah, man.
I like floating with that dude.
The thicker than a Snicker guy.
Ooh,
He's
la
always
la.
floating. He's always floating.
His eyeballs were definitely floating a couple times when we were on that podcast. It was quite hilarious. And on that podcast, we actually went into part 2 of
That podcast.
That podcast.
That podcast.
I think did you from Boston?
I might have been. We don't even
Fucking-
know. I mean,
fuck.
whatever.
You
Fuck it.
Fucking park your car.
And my khakis, fucking here and then there. Anyway, so we got a chance to talk to him about his
Keep
his-
kicking a dag.
his paranormal things, so spooks. When people say spooks
boy.
to me, I always think of CIA people.
Yeah, spies, bro.
not
It's
not
ghosts,
like
bro.
ghosts. Yeah,
It's ghosts.
right. And I got a cough, by the way, so I do apologize. I'm trying not cough in the fucking mic.
I got like the same cough going on too. I'm dying.
Fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
I think
Have
it's
been
the
done.
allergies.
For those of you at home, don't smoke.
No, just don't put your face too close to the speaker because we could cough on you through the speaker.
Facts. That's how we
It's a COVID fact.
We
so
transmitted it. We transmitted
yeah.
it that way.
It's a
Mhm.
COVID fact.
Yeah,
Mm.
facts. I mean, science isn't real anymore, so it's fine. It's
Sounds
whatever.
like- Sounds paranormal.
It totally is.
It totally is.
It totally is.
It's a spooky cough. Anyway, so we were
What
talking with
happens when
him.
you suck on ghost dick?
It's the ghost cocks, dude.
It's the ghost
It's
cocks.
the ghost cocks.
The gox.
Ah.
Let's call it the gox. That gok. Anyway, so we chatted about a couple things. Funny that he thinks the most hilarious one is like the leprechaun. That seems like to be an overall like an overwhelming fucking hilarious paranormal thing for people. And then
I mean, look how short they are. That's how do you not chuckle at that?
It's very hard to take serious.
Yeah, it is super hard to
Yeah.
take seriously.
I agree. And if there's anybody that are short in stature, we're talking about the people who are way short in stature. Listen, don't dress up as a leprechaun. Be something new. Be a unicorn.
Fuck that. Dress up as a leprechaun.
No, man, because like I already told you, I want to just if I ever see a leprechaun, I'm gonna field goal on him.
Did you see Rob's leprechaun costume? He literally looked like the Lucky Charms guy, except for he was like 6 feet too tall.
6 feet too tall.
No, I didn't see that. That's
It
fucking
was
hilarious.
it was fucking epic, dude.
Awesome, man. I do apologize again. Um, so we've got we had a good time with Vok After Dark 2.0. It was a technical difficulty ridden friggin' podcast. It only took like 7 hours to friggin' edit. It was not a big deal or
That
anything.
was fun.
It was a lot of fun. You guys had been drinking since like Thursday because you had to deal with all the things that you'd been
Yeah,
doing.
lots of baseball. Lots
Yeah.
of baseball. Wednesday through Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
It was rough.
Yeah,
It was
you know,
like
Doc used to run a baseball league, and like I can't even imagine how many games that guy went to.
Well, like I don't know, 6 a night for 7 years for a long time.
Did you just decided to
holy
put on
shit,
your
did you just
sultry
go like
voice?
green? He just went like Green Mile, dude. I feel
Yeah.
like
Oh,
he just Shawshanked us trying
I
to
got a-
I don't even know what's
I
going
got a
on.
ghost. I had a ghost
just-
stick in my mouth. I guess
Just cock.
they were like, "Oh, I'll show you." Did I hear ghost stick? I think I heard him say ghost stick.
I think the
Ghost
title of this podcast is going to be called Ghost Members.
It's just Ghost Stick. Just shoot the J. Ghost Stick.
Oh man,
Just
I love it.
DIC.
Yeah.
That way we don't get filtered out.
So Ryan, I got the chance. So Ryan's up here visiting, and we're starting work on the meadery tomorrow. So that's pretty cool. But we got the chance to go down to the county office building and speak with everybody there again. And when we were down there, we have some really cool news for everybody. Once our building is finalized, we will have our address as the Bearded Viking Way, because there's the right way and there's the wrong way and there's the Bearded Viking Way.
Which is a
Nice.
mixture of both.
Yeah, just working harder than anybody else at being dumb.
Yeah.
This is a real thing. So, with that being said, our goal this week is to get the actual skeletal structure up of the building. We're not really quite sure how we're going to lift it, but hey, we're going to try real damn hard. That'd be fun.
Maybe
And-
we can get the ghosts to help with the skeletons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'd have a place to hang out in the middle of the night. As long as they don't
Yeah.
break meat, we're good, man. I'm in. Like,
as
yeah.
long as those bones don't belong to them, I'm all right with it.
Yeah, well, those bones need to be those bones, and we said we're sorry. We didn't mean to do it, and that is what it is. So, told them to go haunt the coroner. It's not our fault, right?
Yeah, passing the buck.
Yeah, we don't have a welcome mat.
No, not yet.
I'm
We ain't gonna get one either.
Oh
No,
hell yeah, it's coming.
no, nope. You better leave that shit at home. Every time you bring one up, man, I'm just gonna throw it away. As soon as it comes up, I'm like, no, man, nope, I'm out.
They're like $1.99 on Amazon.
Yeah, yeah,
You
whatever.
start ordering them to the meadery.
Yeah, I'm just to start stacking them outside of fucking Ryan's house. I'm gonna put them on his new property. Just like bring all the ghosts up that
Everything's
way.
welcome.
Yeah, all the things. So, so we've got the plan to get the building up. We're in the middle of a bunch of stuff. I got to turn in another permit. Oh man, I think I'm on like permit number 30. I'm gonna be a permit master by the time I'm done. Finished our audit with the federal government, so that's cool. Now we're just waiting on background checks. That's cool.
They're still waiting on background checks.
Yeah, talked to the state government today. It's moving along. They're just waiting on a couple of pieces to be finalized and have an understanding of like our ETA for the building to be finished. And once we have that, then we'll have what they call a provisional permit, which doesn't mean a damn thing because we don't have a building to sell it out of. So it doesn't matter.
I was gonna say like 2 out of the 3 of us have like the government secret clearance, but we're still working on an alcohol background check.
At one time I had a TS clearance and that was cool, but it was only as cool until it wasn't cool, and I was like, I don't care anymore. I don't want to renew it. So that was fine.
When they start expecting you to know shit and like be responsible and
nope.
Then it's like, whoa, you can take that clearance way away. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
I don't care what you guys do in the dark. Not my problem. Not my problem at all. So, so coming up, we've got we're shooting for an opening for Freedom Weekend, 4th of July. That's our actual real target date. That's actually fits in our timeline. So, we'll let everybody know that's coming up. But the best way to stay up to date on it with the Bearded Viking is to go on the website beardedviking.com and subscribe to our newsletter. It's not a spammy newsletter. It's only once a month, and it gives you updates on what we're doing and who's coming up to visit, different things that are going on with the organization, where you can buy your mead, things like that. So go on there, do that. If you're following us on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Nailed it. Um, tell your friends about us. We'd love to expand our culture. So
It's not very often that he has to think about what he's saying before he says it, but with that one, 60% of the time, every time he has to
like
think
85% of the time, dude. I just don't ever, I don't even know what to do when it comes to that. But before we get started today with our in-depth pieces of the podcast, I just want to do a couple shout outs for up and coming artists that are located in Texas that allow us to use their music. So we have Martin Antonio. We've talked about him a couple times. If you're not following him, man, he's got a voice of it is just electric, and he's got some great tunes. It's solid, good old dirt country. At the same time, he's got some rock. I mean, he is kind of magnificent, and he's a combat vet.
Yeah,
God
the
love
So,
Marine
that.
Corps.
Marine Corps. And then our new outro, which was actually put together by Michael Summers, he's also down in Texas, and he's an up and comer. I think he's getting some stuff ready to he's possibly moving into a touring scene, which would be really cool. Because when we open the Bearded Viking, I'd like to get two of those two guys to come up and play for our grand opening. I think that would be pretty awesome. But there's a lot of deals that we have to work, and you know, we got to grease some wheels with people who might be driving up here, whatnot, take care of them. But Michael Summers has got some great tunes. He's a little bit slower, but still a killer voice, and his music typically hits pretty solid. So thanks to both of those gentlemen for being a part of the Bearded Viking and the Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys podcast. There wouldn't be Cowboys if they weren't here. We're just a bunch of posers.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas for sure.
Real,
So
real cowboys in Texas.
so on today's episode, we actually we're gonna change realms a little bit from the direct focus of men's mental health to a focus that really I think a lot of us um older generation didn't understand a way or what our parents were doing for us, but at the same time we missed, and that's basically being there for your kids. Now, my generation and Alex's generation, or the Jarl's generation, is more focused and attentive to our kids versus maybe Ryan, you, and like my parents. They weren't really focused on the kids. They were focused on making ends meet and providing for us. And I think that's like the same with your dad as well, your dad and mom, right, y'all. It was mostly that, and they tried to show up when they could, but they had to pay bills. And this was actually a topic that you brought up, Jarl. So I wanted you to kind of expand upon it. Let's start the conversation with being there for your kids. But before we do, just make sure everybody knows we are not experts. We have no idea what we're talking about usually, but we're just going with our gut and we're speaking from the heart. So we are advocates for all of the things that we talk about. And if you don't like it, that's fine. If it's not something that's your cup of tea, that's also fine. However, we're going to keep talking about it because it's something that needs to be spoken about. So,
JT,
We are
JT
not
always
professionals, and no one was hurt in the making of this psyche.
right. JT always says it like we've been sued or we're going through a lawsuit, like right now. Like,
well, there's people that said that I need to do that, and so now I'm just like, okay, well then fine. You know what? I'm
what people?
bald
People,
people,
you
bald
know,
What you
people,
this
what you
bald,
what you mean?
bald,
People.
the
bald people,
CIA, yeah,
bald people.
the spooks.
Yeah, the spooks
The
talk to me
the
mostly.
boy, his own voices in his head are telling him, "Hey, be careful out there."
I
Hey
think he
man,
listens to
the,
them a lot.
those voices make great mead, guys. Great
Uh-huh.
mead.
Yeah, yeah. Just you know what? Stay where you belong in the kitchen.
That's fine. Whatever. I'm here. I'm here. So, Al, why don't you go ahead and expand upon that? Let's start off with that.
So I think it's just about because my mom and dad worked, um, all growing up, but they were always there, as far as showing up to sports events, taking me to sports events and stuff like that. And I think it kind of goes back to like the two parent thing, right?
Hmm.
Because they were there the whole time. Um, and, dad was always coaching or always involved in baseball, stuff like that with us. And then mom was always there, scorekeeping or doing something else, right? So when it comes to like the extracurriculars, they were always there. While it was school and stuff like that, you always had mom there, right? Because dad was out working his ass off.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I think now it's a lot different, especially because you're kind of trying to, at least I am trying to kind of weave my own path on how to do this because I work from home. So I'm always there.
Hmm.
And Justine's the one that's always working her ass off somewhere. And she's always there. She always shows up to, sports and stuff like that. And is, home every night, stuff like that. But it's just a really weird, interesting dynamic now because it's totally different from growing up, but trying to make sure that you're staying on top of everything and showing up when you're needed and um, being present while you're there. You know,
Hmm.
I
Right.
think we've talked a lot about just being present
Yeah, we have.
and
Absolutely.
how much that actually means to kids. Without even knowing it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, remember that? Hey, remember that
Yeah.
time, Dad? Hey, remember this? Hey, remember that? So I think that's huge.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So, I'm going to chime in real quick, and then I'm going to toss it over to you, Ray, real quick. But
God, you're always talking.
oh my God, it's like it's a
God,
podcast. I didn't even know
God,
what's
you're
going
always
on.
talking.
It's fucking killing me. So, I as a kid growing up, my dad was a firefighter, and he was working three jobs to support us. Um, and he wasn't ever there for any of my sporting events, except for when I was like in like little league, right? But when I played ball in high school, like he never was able to make it. So it was really hard for me. It's been really hard for me to understand like that piece. But what I do understand is the second part of being there, being present. So as a single dad, I was working four jobs at one time just to, I was crippled by child support and had to deal with all of the bullshit that comes with being a single dad in the world of, hey, if you've got a dick, you're wrong, right? And so I wasn't able to spend a lot of money on my kids when they were young. But what I was able to do was when I was with them, we'd watch a movie that they wanted to watch, and they would be like, "Dad, Dad, Dad, Dad," and I just like, "Hold on, what? What do you want?" Like, literally, get down in their face, get down on their level, and just pay attention. I've been able to work in my life to build a good relationship with my children when I'm able to communicate with them. My oldest hasn't talked to me in about 7 years. She fell victim to her mom's toxicity, and then um, she moved out of her mom's house and cut off all communication with her mom. She's now working on possibly speaking to me again in the future, which is great. But the reason why that is because of the never-ending, relentless being there as much as I could and being in that moment with her. I could have been way better, but she was my first kid, and there's no like handbook for this. It's just
There's no
there's
turnover binder.
there's nothing like you can follow, right? So so I got that kind of experience, and I think Ryan, you're kind of a blend between me and Alex based off of yours with your kids.
And you have the oldest kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got like half a year beard going on, and Alex's good looks, and man, I made out.
Hmm.
Got this Korean dance moves, and he can sing karaoke like a motherfucker.
Like a
No,
champion, like a
no, don't
champion.
even. I don't even sing in the shower. If
He's
I
like a
start
Barry.
singing
He's
in
like
the,
Barry
this,
White.
yeah, if I sing in the shower, the water stops. It's like, ooh, I'm out of here. No, I think a lot of that is true, and the most important aspect of rearing children, right, is certainly you have this overwhelming expectation to provide, and what that means to everyone is something different, right? Providing
Yeah.
for your children is always subject to interpretation, and I think you know in the 50s or the 60s, providing for your family was traditionally done by the man of the household, And a lot of times child rearing kind of, wasn't the main focus of the man of the household. And so you had instances where it seemed like they were disengaged or weren't as necessarily close to their children. It wasn't that they didn't love them or there wasn't love involved. It was just the focus was of the time, the culture was, you provide. And so I think that has never changed. I think it's just subject to interpretation. And I think one of the most important aspects of having kids is like you're saying, being engaged with regard to whatever's going on, whether it's you're at the playground or you're at the movies or, the hardest thing especially in this day and age is to remain engaged and, stay out of your electronics as you're trying to be engaged. Fortunately for me, when I was raising my kids, there were no electronics, and so I didn't have to worry about that. But
Yeah, I
I'm
think
just,
I think that's a real good call out. I actually catch myself, and I get called out on it currently often for being in Scrollville, is what I want to call it,
yeah.
where you just you like get in. I do a lot of research for the podcast, so I start off in one realm. So what I get stuck in the loop, and I'm scrolling through whether it's looking at the it's looking
Yes, you
at
do.
I know I do, or looking at like aliens, or it's dumbs, or it's Sasquatch or giants or whatever it is. But the problem is I'm doing that at like 6 o'clock in the evening when people are done with work and I'm no longer engaged and I should be outside doing things. And so it's really hard for me, personally, to try to really focus on that. And so one of my actual goals for this year, not like a resolution, but just an overall goal, is to reduce my amount of time during waking hours that I'm doing that kind of thing, because family is paramount. We've become a family that we've chosen to be part of, the Bearded Viking family and the Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys family. However, our our family, our individual families, that nucleus is actually what builds better for tomorrow, if you will. It plants the seed for success for society if you focus on it in the appropriate aspect, right? And I think a lot of us as adults, when we're done with the workday, the last thing that we want to do is answer a question about somebody's fucking hobby, or hear somebody ask about, you know, XYZ. It's a little bit easier
Shit.
if they're kids.
I got a freaking 8-year-old that'll ask you a million questions from the time you pick him up from school to the time you get home, and it's like a 3-minute drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but you're being there for your kids is staying present with them, like you said, and like we've talked about. It's answering the dumb questions like, "Hey, Dad, why is the sky blue?" It's not a dumb question to the kid. It's a dumb question to us because we learned it forever ago and we can't remember it. Now we got to Google it, right? Something
Yeah.
about reflection of the ocean. Nobody actually really fucking knows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that way
I
I,
because aliens painted it that way. That's why.
I
my
used to
hopes. Oh, go ahead, Ray.
I was gonna say I used to have to remind myself it's like talking to the wife. I gotta just let them finish all the way through. Don't try and answer each individual question as they go because they're just gonna. You gotta just wait till the end, and then you're like, "Oh, you wanted to reply? Okay, you're ready for a reply. Okay,
Oh,
here we
oh,
go."
oh, you wanted me to answer that question?
Yeah.
Right. But
What
Yeah,
were you
I
gonna
but
say?
yeah.
I'm hoping that by the time they're at least my boys are our age. Well, maybe not Ryan's because he's old as fuck, but
Yeah.
at least my age.
I was gonna say
Um,
when your boys are my age, I'll be in the ground.
I don't
Yeah.
know. You're
Or
probably
s-
gonna be an ignorant old fucking Korean dude yelling at
Yeah.
somebody to get off your grass in the middle of
I'll be
nowhere,
like yeah,
Montana.
I'll be like halfway in the ground and be like,
He'll be like,
"Eh."
JT, come over here, get these fucks off my lawn. I'll be like, what are you talking about? These elk bushes and these elk trees. What the fuck are they?
I'm gonna shoot him.
Yeah, you're gonna have to freaking call on the landline before you come to his house, or he's just gonna start sending rounds
Fuck that. We're putting a zip line in between the houses.
downrange.
And on the zip line we're gonna have that little like that string that goes to the two cans
Yeah,
where you
the
can talk.
cups.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's like, that's the landline.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
don't have access to the landline, you can't call
Can
before you get there.
can can you hear me now?
Pull your cord tighter.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that they can sit there and be like, yeah, we did some cool shit. Like, Dad didn't suck all the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, I'm super proud to say that my boys are my older boy's 30, gosh, 2, and then Tanner turned 27 this last year. So, and I'm proud to say that, even all those times that I was giving knuckles to the foreheads or, yelling at them like I'm their drill instructor, they actually learned something from things that I had to say, and they're good ducks. I really appreciated the men that they've grown into. So.
I'm going to add something to that for you too, and I think
and
this is something.
and not to leave out Natasha's boys, but it's interesting because we struggled a lot when they were younger and having the blended family issues. But now that they're older, and her younger boy turns 21 this year, and the both of them have matured fantastic, and they've turned into good young guys too. So
I mean,
super cool to hear. It's just super cool to see the guidance that you give and the things that you've said over the years, and watch them kind of play out with the kids that you've raised.
It's really interesting that you say that too, right? So like, my 20-year-old daughter moved in, and when she first moved in, it was battles, like it was like, I'm gonna do it my way, and I'm like, well,
Hmm.
I'm me, and I'm 40, and I don't change very fast. I make a left-hand turn as quick as a fucking, one of those giant oil tankers in the
I
ocean.
know.
I'm not
Uh,
nimble, you know.
I get super afraid when you make a left-hand turn and there's an oncoming vehicle, and I'm like, oh Jesus, please God, let us
Oh,
go.
Jesus
Let us
Christ.
get through this.
Let it be a Prius.
Right, right. Uh,
No,
well,
if I want it to be an oil tanker. If we're gonna get if we're gonna get dinged, I
No
want to be
suffering.
fucking yeah.
yeah, just
I want to be
over.
No
just
suffering.
DUN fucking done. Yeah.
The thing though with when she moved in is she actually brought back that point to me where I have to stop and just be there and listen.
Yeah.
And it's actually that, coupled with this fucking podcast thing that we're doing, which is still super fucking weird to me. Um, but like stopping and focusing and listening has, I think, made me calmer overall. Or the microdosing of the shrooms. I'm not really quite sure. But
Would
I
you
mean,
say that it's the stop, the collaboration,
I
and
would
the
say it
listening?
is. Absolutely. Because ICE is back with a brand new invention. Absolutely would. But the thing is, when it comes to the kids, like, we don't ever know how good or how bad we're doing. We always just
That's the
think,
hard part.
yeah, there's
That's
no
the really hard
gauge.
part.
There's not like a midterm.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody's giving you fucking notes.
Yeah, you're like, oh, sweet, my kids made it out of fucking high school without being like me and getting kids, right?
Right.
Like, my
Right.
kids aren't
Yeah.
raising kids. I'm fucking stoked,
Or
and then,
you're not hearing from the principal's office on a daily basis, or
but yeah,
the
there's no
fire
way.
the fire department's not at your house, and the police department's not calling you at 3 in the morning, and
Yeah, I
Right.
mean,
Well, and Ryan can speak to this too, like especially where now Sam's old enough where he's getting into baseball. And he's like in like the competition baseball, right? Or comp baseball, whatever. And so it's super competitive. So there's a lot of moving pieces going on. And I got suckered into coaching. So now it's like I'm having an impact on these other kids where, you did it forever, dude. So now I'm like, shit, am I gonna fuck this one up too? Or just like my kid? Just trying to have this impact on these other kids and their kind of trajectory too.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very scary.
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I used to there's nothing more rewarding than watching one of the kids improve in baseball and get better based on what you're trying to project to them and teach them and help them along with, and it's that one of the most rewarding things too is to have a parent come to you and say, my kids learned more from baseball in one season with you than playing the last 3 seasons. He really didn't want to play anymore, and I forced him to play this year, and he had so much fun.
Right.
that's got to be an awesome
That's a
experience.
huge thing. Yeah. It
Yeah,
makes it
yeah.
worth all the yelling at the kids for not doing
Yeah,
what they're supposed to be
any
doing.
every time I had to encounter the irate parent or the parents that were super critical or had bad things to say about the league or this or that, I always would just reflect back on, hey, this is that one thing. And granted, you let it get to you in that moment, but then you reflect back and you try and say, hey, look, there's all of these other things that are going on that
Right.
are positives, and people giving,
Well,
positive feedback and thanking you for what you do and telling you you're doing a great job. And so I think the baseball community as a whole is just, it can be super competitive and it can be super critical at the same time. However, it can also be very rewarding, and um, the parents can be, the camaraderie of baseball is just super fun. It was,
yeah.
I did it for a long, long time, and there were times where, you did it because you were in it, and really nobody else wanted to do it. So it
Right.
was hard to, it's hard to pass off when nobody wants to take it on. But then, there's the times frames where you sit down and you're watching a game or you're just hanging out, and it's just like we were driving to Columbus today and there's a baseball game going on. I'm like, oh, if we had more time, I would just love to just have no vested interest in any of those kids. But
Just to watch it.
kid baseball is just so fun to watch. And it was the age group that is so much fun to watch. They looked like they were about 8 or 9 year old kids. So super, just took me back for a few minutes. I was like, oh, it's those
Oh,
days.
nice. You had an Alzheimer moment, huh? You flash back and you're good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
To
we
the
got to
No,
worry
point
about
of
that shit. Some dementia
I
shit
don't call it
happening.
it's not senility, it's serenity in your thoughts.
Oh, okay.
oh,
I
there you
like
go. That's
that.
what I
There
mean.
we go. There you go. I would
See, and
say,
it's hard because he flashes back to that and wants that back and to enjoy that moment. And I have to try and remember to remind myself that I'm not going to get these moments back,
yeah.
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
though I'm trying to push them forward to this next year in baseball,
Yeah.
You
so we can be better and I can yell less and
you want to know something? So obviously, I've never had that opportunity being a single dad of daughters, and they were gone like for the majority of the time. But the closest thing that I can say that I can actually relate to that moment. So my daughter moves in, and we have our battles, and we figure it out, right? And then I start watching this young woman like take the work ethic that I know that she has. She gets a job, and then she is enrolled in college now, and she got promoted at her job to an assistant manager in only like 3 months, and she finished the 75 hard, and she got herself into like counseling to make sure that she's mentally okay and she's emotionally stable to make sure she can progress in life. And now, she's getting her driver's license and she's just doing all of these things, and that's my check
Yeah.
to say, hey, listen, I fucked up a lot as a dad. Like there's like everybody fucks up. You yell too much, or you lose your temper, or you don't understand feelings because we have four as men and they have 7,000, and you don't know why they're crying because the sunset's pretty, right? You just don't get that, right? But the thing is those moments to me mean that maybe I'm not a shitty dad. Maybe I'm okay.
maybe you have a
May,
little bit of redemption.
Maybe I
Maybe
don't
there's some
think so.
redeeming
Like, yeah,
qualities.
maybe there's something, right? But
Or
I
or
think
she found a lot of YouTube and Facebook that was able to help her compensate or
Right. There's
something.
that too.
same.
Yeah.
That she
There's
was
also
really
that. Yeah,
bored up on the mountain.
yeah. I mean, she did this.
I
She
I
literally
got
did the 75 hard, the hardest time of the year. She was out there, and I'm gonna freaking just tout about this because I'm freaking so proud of her because I did the 75 hard, and it was in the wintertime, but it's in Utah. Like not like it was cold when I was outside walking around, and I did my last week when I had COVID, and it sucked. Like I was dying, but I never went for a walk at negative 38 degrees outside with it
mm.
snowing sideways. Never did
uh,
that. That's
it's a
that's
little
a different
chilly.
level. This is a different level of hardcore, you know?
Yeah, that's committed, yeah.
Yeah, and she did it in one go. And I gotta tell you guys, like that is the measure to me, that is my measurement, right? My measuring stick. So number one, did the kids get out of high school without making kids? Because I didn't. So you're already better than me, right? Which is all we can hope for is our kids can be better than us. Number two, she's making choices in her life that are going to set her up for success. So the 75 hard is all a mental game. It's a mind fuck. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like it's literally finding ways to win when everything is stacked against you. And she did it. She's been up here on her own as a 20-year-old on top of a mountain in the middle of fucking nowhere with nobody else around. And she's found that serenity within herself. And I find myself now, I used to flash back to moments like you do, to when she was little. And I have those moments still, but they're less. They're more about when I'm around her and she's doing weird 20-year-old shit that I don't understand anymore. So watching my daughter flourish and grow has been absolutely amazing, and seeing her like and that transition from and watching her be a 20-year-old doing weird 20-year-old shit to me is amazing. Except for the sometimes the music she chooses, I'm like I can't. I'm
Is
not.
it is it like all like Alanis Morissette?
It's like being in the car with your sister, all hip hop and rap shit.
Uh,
Like his
Yeah,
sister
Goosebumps.
or yours?
his
Mm,
sister.
okay.
When we were in Texas, Jess
Oh,
decided
gotcha.
that she wanted to fucking take us to the honky tonk and listen to R&B the whole way, or fucking hip hop the whole way. I'm
This
like,
is how we do it.
yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God. God help
what the
me.
fuck? Where are we at? But anyway, so to add on to what
So
you gentlemen are saying, like, go ahead, Al.
I was just gonna kind of take it into. I was gonna steer it to a different direction. So if you have a thought, finish it up.
Well, I was just saying, so being there for your kids is literally the key for the future of humanity, in reality, and you don't know the influence that you have or impact you have on not only your child's life but your child's friends and people around you.
Yeah,
To
and
be there.
if you're asking yourself, why does this have anything to do with men's mental health? Is because, I mean, eventually, whether you have boys or girls, um, you as a man, you're trying to impact their mental health for the good, and you have to be in a good, healthy place too, and being taking care of yourself,
You know,
and
yeah, and I mean just to tack on to that, and as far as the men's mental health goes, I'll take it to a different level and say, um, in seeing friends of mine, and particularly you, JT, right? I think individuals that I know that haven't been as engaged in their children's lives, they don't seem to have the same joy that parents that are engaged have, right? And it could be for a variety of reasons, right? It could be that there are time constraints with this job or that job, or dual jobs or triple jobs, or like you're saying in your case, quadruple jobs. I did the same thing when I was young and Jordan was a baby. I had 4 jobs, right? And I think that you'll find that the parents that are engaged seem to be much more happy, and they can see the joy in their children. And I've seen that with you, right? Over the years, when we first were friends and you didn't have that engagement with your kids, and it was, there was anger and frustration and uh, sadness, right?
Yeah.
And now that you're able to be more engaged and involved with her, and the potential for your older daughter to be engaged and have that relationship back, I've just seen it's literally a night and day difference in your happiness and your engagement and your
yeah,
Yeah.
joy.
it's a weight lifted off, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It really does feel like that. And
So it's
and not
I guess in sorry to interject. I think
you're
that
good.
I guess it's just one of those things that it comes full circle. What goes around comes around to you again, right? So your engagement and your involvement and their happiness, because they are happier when you're engaged.
Uh,
One of the saddest things you can see is, like, back to baseball for just a moment, is being on, watching one of the kids get their first hit, and they run to first base, and they turn, and where's the first place they look? They
So
for
look to
mom
the
and
mom and
dad.
dad.
stands.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did mom and dad just see what I did?
Hmm.
And that they didn't see it. And the kids, like, you can just see them get deflated and just totally, like, dejected. And it's, versus, you have those parents that you're like, oh my God, why don't you just come around the chain link and coach for me? But the one, and then you have the ones that are on the stands and they're hooting and hollering, and you're thinking, oh my God, they're so obnoxious. But you know what they really are? They're engaged.
They're yeah,
And
they're
the
great.
Yeah.
They're
and the
doing what they
kids,
can.
They have their
Yeah.
phones down. They're watching their kids.
Yep. And the kids see it, and the kids notice, and the kids realize.
Yeah. So Al, you
Yeah.
were going to steer us into a direction that I feel like is going to be even more empowering.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of a complementary type of topic too, and it's just kind of what it takes to say no, when to say no, how to say no, especially when it comes to, your mental health and doing what you need to do.
Hmm.
And I know that I have a hard time saying no to people, and sometimes it's like you feel like you're letting people down when you tell them no. But I feel like there's definitely a point where you got to be like, sorry, dude, can't do it,
Hmm.
or just flat out no, like I'm not gonna do it. I'm tired. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Like this is what I want. I'm doing this for me or this for my family. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we get busy. We have
yeah.
a lot of stuff going on, and I think that a lot of and for an example of you know saying no is I've had to say no to, hey, can we do the podcast tonight? Can we do this tonight? Like, sorry, dude, no. Like, I can't.
Hmm.
Like, I have baseball.
Yeah.
I got to I got to be there for the boy to do baseball. And it caused a longer gap in some of the podcasts a couple weeks ago, which that impacts us as a company. And that sucks, right? Because
Well,
we're trying to do the best that we can and be out in front of everybody. But at the same time, it's like sometimes you have to say no,
well,
and
yeah.
and it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable to say fucking no sometimes.
Oh yeah,
I'm I'm
you
I'm
guys
not a
are
person that says no a lot.
you guys make it extremely fun to say no to. I want you guys to know that. But the reality is though, and I think the culture that we all focus on is that open conflict is okay. Understanding conflict and working through it, conflict resolution, and no is a way to resolve conflict. Is no, I can't. Right? Establishing your priorities and stacking them on top of each other and say, this is my number one, and your family should be your second priority. You should always be number one. You, your family, and then everything else falls in line afterwards. And people will battle me on that. But here's the reality, and this is from a personal perspective. So I used to be like the people's dude. Why, they'd be like, "Hey, you want to go out?" And I'd be like, "Sure, yes." Right? And I would go out for days and days and days and days and days in a row. And people would be like, "Oh, you're on a bender." I'm like, "Nah, man, I had like a beer a night. I can't afford more than a beer at night. And I'm poor as fuck. Like, I'm renting out my friend's basement apartment. Like, I'm living in a freaking shoebox
What do
downstairs
you
under the
want from
fucking,
me?
yeah. Like what? Like, I mean,
Can't afford to be on a bender in a
I
bar. The
I took
bender's in next to the fender in the trunk,
the
man.
I
bed
took
the
my own beer to the bar.
yeah. And I got water there so I could drive home. Like
Right.
I just told, or I was like, oh man, I had a cough or a sore throat, and I went to the bar and I was like, hey, I'm in a DD, and I got free Sprite all night. That's like the
Right.
that's like the reality of the situation. But like, I look at it now. So your cup, let's say you have a cup, right, and it's full of happiness. If you start pouring your happiness into somebody else's cup, then your cup is no longer full. You need to make sure that your cup is overflowing with your own happiness. And if they want to partake of that happiness in that aspect of knowing how to say no, you keep your serenity safe. And in doing so, then those that are directly impacted by your happiness, by your serenity, benefit. So I always say you take care of yourself first, because if you can't provide, protect, and guide your family, then you are not you're not doing the thing you're supposed to do as a man. And I, for the longest time, would say yes to everybody. And you guys know that I have a hard time saying no. Everybody knows that about me because
All I
I
hear is no. Every time I turn around,
you're the
like, no,
CFO. You're the fucking person that
no,
tells me
no,
no all the
Ryan,
time.
no, Ryan, no, no, we can't, no, Ryan, we can't do that. No, Ryan,
You're
we
the
can't do
you're
it.
the money guy that says yes.
Yeah,
No,
it's so
Ryan,
weird.
no,
It's broken. This shit's fucking broken.
Ryan, don't touch me there. Don't stop.
Wait, okay,
Yeah.
go.
Okay, go. No.
No,
The,
no, that's a great thought. It's like you take a lesson from every airline flight you've ever taken, right? Where you're like, place the mask over your face first and then help others.
If you're fucking
Mhm.
dead, you can't help anybody, bro.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, make sure you're taking care of you, and then, most of the rest of it falls in line.
It's very interesting because when and I'm going to touch on what you said, Al, because it's really important, and I want everybody to know a couple of things about that. So we're going to put a pin in it for just 1 second. But when when we when I started focusing on myself first, and I put my degree and my education in place first, and then I started putting my happiness first, guess what happened? When my kids were around, I was able to focus on my kids and take that time to be with them because I didn't have to deal with everybody else. And I would tell everybody no. And I lost friends by saying no. You don't get to spend time with my kids. It's the last weekend with them. It's my turn. It's like you don't this is me and them. This is my last weekend for 6 months. Yeah, you're the uncle, but you don't get to be there. You can come over to the house for a little bit, but this is my last night for 6 months. And saying no to people like that, you're going to find out whether or not they're in your corner or not. And when you told me, "Hey man, I can't. I got this." I was like, "Cool, whatever, man. Not a big deal. Like, just let me know when we can. We just gotta get on it, you know?"
Yeah, I think it's just the whole like letting people down, right? Because
Oh yeah.
I don't think any of us like to let anybody down.
No, not in our
And
culture.
Right. Yeah.
and saying no is sometimes an immediate letdown. Like, sorry, dude, like I can't do it. Like I'm not gonna make it tonight.
Yeah.
It fucking sucks, right? Because we planned something and we're we're horribly good at making bad plans that we think are gonna be good.
Oh, wait,
We
you're
have yet to
building?
meet a deadline. So,
Yeah.
like,
I
we
know.
don't even know what
It's
those
like
are. It's
I know how that goes. I feel like the baseball kid when, JT calls me and he's like, "Hey man, we're gonna do a podcast and I'll call you tomorrow at 8 o'clock."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock." Oh,
Shit.
he's
phones
Shit.
go both
man,
ways,
he
bro.
he must be he must be washing his beard. I haven't
He's
heard
got to
from
be
him.
washing his
It's,
beard.
Washing
he's
his
got to
beard.
be he's got to be washing his beard. I feel like that high
I
school
love it.
girl and then the next day I don't hear from him and then he asked me, "Hey, you want to be on the podcast?" I'm like, "Next." I'm like, "Wait, you mean again? Are you going to shine me again?"
Wait.
Because
Wait.
I don't know if I can handle the rejection again.
Right. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Fuck you
And
guys
it was
both.
seriously, and it was all a just series of events that was put into
It
motion by me saying no.
it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
You
it
And then
know,
he's like
I
it
he's like,
all
all
"Dude,
said
started
I'm
with you
no,
being
and then
sick.
JT stood
yeah."
you up, and
Yeah, and he's
then
like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. I fell asleep." I'm like, "Oh, well,
Yeah.
at least you weren't washing your beard. At least you had a good excuse."
No, no, there's
right.
no good excuse.
Oh, I
But
would have
the
taken
thing
washing the beard.
the thing was so this actually all
Golly.
started with when you by the way you getting sick was 100% karma for fucking that devil pup's got a little sniffle,
Oh,
a little
that
dry
devil
throat.
pup's got a dry nose.
The
Yeah,
devil.
that's so that's why you got sick. So he
That's
says that,
bad.
and then I'm like, "You ready for to podcast on Tuesday?" He's like, "Dude, I'm fucking dying."
I seriously was. Last week I thought I was gonna die.
And then Thursday, I'm like, "Cool. Well, let's look and see what we're looking at." He's like, "Okay, cool. We can do it Wednesday. I coordinate with you Wednesday." Wednesday doesn't happen. He's down and out for the count. Totally fine. Not a big deal. I'm like, fine, we'll just do it Thursday.
And
Let me know when baseball's
that
done.
even makes me dejected because then I'm like, I didn't hear Corman up. I didn't hear Corman up a single fucking time.
Bro, the last
Oh,
thing I wanted it was an IV in my cock vein. Okay, I was like,
Dude, the main vein is the only vein to get an
I had the
IV in.
2-day man flu.
dude, I was like, wait, what? You're not feeling well? Let me get my silver bullet. I'm on my way.
Yeah.
He was already inside the house
He
before
was
I
like,
could
oh,
call out from the podcast.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm
But
like,
it's
best
inter
time ever is 25 minutes driveway to driveway. You tell me you're down, I'll be there in 15.
He's gonna jump in the side by side and slam over the mountain.
Yeah,
facts.
I will.
I'm
I, will-
coming.
I'll come over Butterfield. You know it.
Just I'm breathing heavy is all he said. That's all he said.
One of us is gonna be Butterfields for sure.
For real. So the idea of what it takes to say no in our culture, and this is something that I think that men should be empowered to do, is surround yourself with people that understand, number one, that your serenity is important. And if I say no, that you don't get to fucking say anything against it. Like, you can badger your friend a little bit, like, are you sure? And if they say no a second time, be done with it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well, and we're
Yeah.
badgering motherfuckers to
Yeah.
like everything, but
Every for the audience,
everything.
everything.
But like it's
almost
it's our
almost
culture.
to a detriment sometimes,
Oh yeah.
it's like sometimes you badger somebody and then it ends up being no bueno,
And then all of
and
a
then
sudden, next thing you
yeah.
know, somebody's just like
Ryan's
trying to
rants.
freaking,
Ryan's ranting.
or one of your fucking friends is just like auto-correcting everything you say in grammar in a fucking group chat and then fucking leaves because they're mad.
Wait.
You know who you are. Fuck you.
Oh no.
Oh, that was very specific.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, that's like two stories. I feel like you might have had a dream or something. Did you have a
Uh,
bad nap today?
no, I had a great nap until
Had
the
a-
fucking dog started jumping up on top of everything.
S-
Ryan's down here freaking making
Sorry.
love to the dogs. It's just like all I hear is this heavy panting and fucking Ryan be like, "Oh, that's a good boy. Oh, you're a good girl." Heavy panting everywhere. I'm like, "Are you petting my
I,
dogs or are you
I,
petting my dogs?"
Yes.
dude, it's I
Heavy
Yes.
can't.
petting was
He
happening.
literally it was
No
a 30-minute
comment.
drive between Bozeman and your house, and he had plenty of time to get the Skippy ready.
Yep, exactly.
Oh yeah,
Fucking
I got two whole jars, chunky and smooth. I mean, you never know.
You got to go for the chunky. It's the chunky
always
every
the
time.
chunky,
You got
always
to
every
get the
time.
nails in.
So
So
go ahead, Al.
no, you go.
No, you go.
No, you go.
This is your
No,
section.
no, you
Wait,
hang up.
I'm
No,
practicing
you hang up.
saying no.
that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a lot of no's.
Tons of no's.
You know, no, no, no sounds like oh, oh, oh when you put duct tape over your mouth.
It does. That's real. That's real.
As long
That's
as
a
it's
real
not
thing.
the no spot.
Oh yeah.
No,
I just do it to my friends when they start saying shit I don't want to hear.
it's a loophole.
Nope.
It's a
No.
loophole.
It's a loophole.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Fuck you too. Fuck you too.
Yeah, we rolled out. We're in a
Yeah, that's
totally
fucking
different
great.
spot.
Well, so I guess really, and this comes down to being like the essence of men's mental health and that quote unquote toxic masculinity piece, right? Standing up for yourself is and saying no and keeping your serenity is the most important thing. The question is how do you say no to people that will badger you nonstop? And what is acceptable, right?
I think the problem is like is keeping those people around that are gonna constantly badger you, or that are gonna badger you and mean it,
Hmm.
right? Because if somebody says no in our group, we're just like, we'll badger them and shit like that. But ultimately, like, okay, you know,
Yeah,
that's what's happening. It's a no. We're still gonna give you shit about it, but it's still a no,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think the most I've learned in life was when JT wrote his book Conflict Resolution Without Hammers. That was super powerful for me.
Ah, fuck you. You dropped this too, you fucking dick. I had a Thor moment. I'm fucking Viking. What do you want?
wow.
It was a little hammer, bro. Okay. I mean,
Okay.
it was a 5 pound sledge, but whatever. Fuck you too. I hope you stub your toe. Eat a dick. Love you guys. I think that Ryan should fuck
That might
off.
have grazed on something fucking
Oh
special, huh?
god, that was a great moment. You didn't even witness it, and there was thunder
No,
and lightning
I
outside.
fucking
Oh
I
yeah,
heard.
God got involved, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
heard. I heard about the. Yeah, I was
yeah.
upset that I did miss it.
No, no, it was better off that you never saw that guy.
I hear that it was a fucking bestseller though.
It was a great book. It was a 25-minute masterpiece. Fucking dicks.
It's like
I,
it's one of those penthouse letters, it's short, succinct, but not it's just never forgettable.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It
absolutely.
literally changed the course of your life, just like
Facts.
reading the articles in a Playboy or a Hustler.
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely.
Don't forget Cosmo. Oh my God, don't forget
S-
Cosmo.
Right.
So
I
one
mean, I
thing
only
that
bought Playboy for the articles.
I absolutely like never once that I want to look at like Cindy Crawford or Pamela Anderson or any of those.
Brooke
Yeah,
Mm,
Burke or
whatever. Yeah, who cares? So I think one thing that needs to be a clear expectation in your friend group is if I say no, and you bug me in the second no, that is the case. But more imperative to me and this is something I think that we are unanimous about within the organization, right? So we have coined the term "it's time for a meetup," where we get people together and we do these podcasts as an example of meeting up and hanging out with your friends virtually if you can't be in the same town, and like really having that that bonding time that men need, where we talk about dumb shit.
Uh-huh.
But as soon as you offer somebody some alcohol and they say no, I don't drink, you do not ever fucking say, come on, man,
Yeah,
because you don't know the demons they're dancing with.
for
That's
sure.
something that
Right.
you never do. It's like if somebody offers you like drugs and you are an addict and you say no and they do it in front of you. That's fucked up. And what you need to do as a man in those situations, those people are not your friends. They do not have your interest in their mind. They have a good time in their mind. And that means that they are not men either.
Oh
They are
yeah,
fuckboys.
you should be like immediately supportive of them not
Yeah.
drinking and
Yeah.
making sure that they're not drinking for the rest of the night or
Mhm.
whatever, you know?
Yeah, dude. Number one, everybody needs a good friend who's a sober friend, because the sober friends have a good time when they're drinking with, or when they're hanging out with drinking friends, right? And typically they're the ones who bring reason when you have no more reason involved.
Or
10
just
more.
a solid ride home.
Oh yeah, same. 10 more
Yeah,
seconds, Ryan. 10 more seconds. Just wait 10 seconds.
just 10, just 10,
um
and
but
counting.
the the reality is, for the bearded Viking in our culture and the Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys podcast, if you are a member, follower, if you're part of this culture now, or you're trying to grow into this culture, understand this. We have a zero tolerance policy for those things. And it's extremely important. When people establish true and real boundaries, you just don't fuck with those boundaries, right? Like you just don't. And if you are surrounding yourself with people who understand that established boundary and that established expectation, and they leave it alone and they stand up for you so you don't have to, that's your people. That's the
Yeah,
men that you need to be around.
yeah,
If they go and they change that, or they badger you to the point where you feel uncomfortable and you can't openly speak about it, change your people, right? Like all of us have established true boundaries for within our organization and within in part of our family and friendship, that we say we don't talk about this. Like we don't give each other shit about kids. Like our kids are sacred. Spouses are sacred. We'll talk about our spouses killing each other, killing us and stuff, because they totally would. Every one of them would bury us in the backyard if they could get away with it, right? But like that's the extent of it. But we have that clear understanding and that respect level for each other, and that's saying no. This is my line. Don't fucking cross it. And if you cross it, you get one chance, right?
yeah. And I think most people are respective of those kinds of boundaries, provided they're aware, right? And I don't know too many people. I know a few, and they're self-absorbed and everything's about them. So regardless of whether or not you've had a boundary or you've identified a boundary, they either A, didn't hear it, or B, don't care because they're just self-absorbed and care to them. But I think the majority of people are respective of boundaries. I think a lot of people, push lines and push, like you were saying, we give each other a hard time, we rip each other, we push the envelope sometimes of fun, but or poking fun, and then there are those times where it's like, oh yeah, the dog
Found it.
bites. Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
Yeah.
it. Okay. Oops. I'm sorry. I hit the line, and then you go from there.
Yeah.
And I
Is
but yeah, as long as you've identified those boundaries, and I think most people are respectful, and I think overall, I think society as a whole, people are respectful. Back to the interesting, little thing with, I see, you get that look like there's the greater good and you don't believe in it, but I do, and I think that overall, I think people are good. Yeah, there's a lot of bad apples here and there, but I think that good apples fall from the tree too. But so don't give me that look.
Just pull those.
that's actually a what, like a Napoleon Dynamite theory, like apples come down, it's physics or something. I don't know. Anyway,
Dude, I think his he had the tot theory. I think the apple
oh
theory
yeah,
was. I think it was
Isaac,
that Newton dude. But
Isaac
yeah,
Newton.
yeah,
Yeah.
Whatever. I
yeah,
mean, Napoleon
He's
Dynamite, Isaac Newton,
Nolan.
same
Yeah.
guy, just
yeah.
Napoleon,
different
same
generations.
thing.
You know,
But
and I
yeah,
think and the
Napoleon
reason
Newton, Isaac
Napoleon
Dynamite,
Newton, I think
Isaac
that's
Dynamite,
Isaac
I
Dynamite.
I
Isaac
think
Dynamite.
that's the sequel. Maybe
Yeah,
that's the prequel.
I don't know.
Maybe that's how Napoleon came around, right?
I,
That's the Garden of Eden. But
It
I,
was his
but
dad.
yeah, I
Isaac.
think
yeah,
so. Yeah,
yeah.
Isaac Dynamite was his
But
dad.
He
I
was a
think
ginger Mexican.
Yeah.
a ginger Mexican. Oh, please let me have one. That sounds tasty. Oh my God.
A Jixican.
So,
You're definitely getting cut.
Yes.
but no, I think humanity as a whole is respectful of boundaries, and I say that in regards to I've had a few friends that are they're LDS/Mormon, whatever you want to call it, and whatever the understanding for people outside of Utah might be the Mormon thing, and or any religious person per se that doesn't drink alcohol, right? And they're at a party and they're not drinking, and someone's like trying to offer them a drink, and the easiest way that they found that nobody pushes the boundary issue is to say, hey, I'm 22 years sober. And then like, oh man, that's great. Congratulations. I'm when they've never had a drink in their life because of their religious beliefs, but it was just, people respect that particular boundary almost always, right? Like you're saying.
Hmm.
And so they're like when I say, hey, I'm 21 years sober, um, it's not there isn't another instance thought about it.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. It makes sense. So, um, because I want to talk about the next thing still, we have a part three, and Ryan hasn't been part of the conversation except for last night when we had a 2-hour conversation about the paranormal
Uh-oh.
shit.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I want to
Two
wrap up and
2 hour conversation. I wasn't even part of it.
no, because it
About the
was
paranormal. I want to know what was talked about.
I was just
Oh.
recapping things for him.
See, I think he like flashed me something and did an anal probe because I'm not remembering this.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Mm.
Uh-oh. It's all your IPAs. It's the IPAs and
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
the
well.
mind
We
erasers.
did have we did mix beer and then mead last
and
night.
me, yeah. Had some awesome pineapple habanero with tacos last night at 11:30 when I rolled in.
Poor
And
guys.
then
And
right?
and then we topped it off with some Valkyrie. Shit was
Mm-hmm.
rough.
Too
Uh,
bad you guys can't buy it out there.
Now, I
yeah,
was gonna say I'm so sorry for you guys that you're not able to actually partake of it yet. We're working on that, but man, it's gonna be good when you can.
Sucks to
yes.
suck.
So I think the big things that we just need to wrap up on this mental health, right? So number one, I would say that a man is present with his kids and is there for his children. You don't have to be for everything, but be there and be present with them. A real man does that. And that being there creates happiness within yourself, right? That's number one. Number two, I would say make sure that you are putting yourself first in the aspect of your happiness. So if you're in a situation where you're giving your happiness to everybody else, fix it. Take care of yourself and know when to say no. Understand how hard it is to say no, but surround yourself with people that understand that you're doing that for yourself and for your family, right? Surround yourself with people, men that are like-minded in that aspect that take care of that. I think those things are the main takeaways from this week's episode because, we talk about everything, whether, what is a man, what does it take to be a man, a leader, all of those pieces. But being a father and being a good father is harder than probably just being a man. So take those to heart.
Yeah, chicks dig dads that show up.
Chicks did dad, they dig father figures too.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a father figure. Hell yeah. That's not true. It's called a dad bod now, I think.
Well, you're refined, so let's just go with father figure.
The silver
You're
fox
like a you're like
and
an
his
aged
father
wine.
figure.
Like an
Yeah,
aged wine.
aged mead.
You're like
An aged mead.
an aged kimchi honey. feed.
With a little bit of sediment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, solid. All right, so let's jump into paranormal. I think that this week's episode of Paranormal Activity is sponsored by Bracing for Tomorrow.
Sponsored by the
Yes, I
Paranormal
mean,
Activity.
Is the galaxies getting pulled into the future?
Well, I think that, obviously we are working on trying to help veterans and help men. If you're a veteran, we want to make sure that you cross the finish line of life, and not in a negative way. We want to make sure you're out there. So look them up, give them a follow, give them a shout out. They should have a logo on their car now.
He's
Very
racing Thursday.
Thursday.
Thirsty Thursday.
Facts. So let's get into this shit.
Let's jump in.
For real. Let's jump in. So recap. We talked about Stephen Greer in the Sean Ryan show.
Okay.
How he goes down the path and he talks about the deep, dark underground unilateral government that is withholding information from us. Anybody who's out there that's creating 0 point energy, which we'll talk about again here in a minute.
Our protection. Don't forget it, for our protection.
Yeah, something.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are out there and you're listening, and you have some sort of cool thing, understand it's better if you just go to Stephen Greer and release it directly to the public. Don't try to get it patented. Don't fucking make a YouTube video about it. Just go straight there, because they'll try to wet work you.
Yeah, that means murder.
Death kill.
I was gonna say, I don't think that means grease your palms.
Not anymore.
That'd be it. And by the way, just before we start, none of us actually have intentions on accidentally suiciding ourselves at all.
Yeah.
So
I like me way too much to kill me.
Can you actually suicide yourself accidentally?
I don't know. Hillary yourself to the back of the head with 2 shotguns.
At different angles.
Yeah.
What is it? It's from Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's right. This one's right, and this one's wrong. It's like his arms were way out here. What if it's 2 guys with 2 separate guns? Anyway.
And we're back.
We're
back. We've circled full back. So we left off talking about like the Denver airport and like the conspiracy theory built behind that. But let's talk about DUMS. So DUMS is Deep Underground Military Base.
Yes.
And there is an entire...
Of course, military has DUMS in the... Yeah. That's like marriage.
Military... It's military intelligence 101, bro.
Yeah.
And acronyms. Yeah. Acronymology.
It should be a science in itself.
Yep.
Yeah, that goes together like Bert and Ernie and, Pooh and Tigger and
clapping? Oh.
Wait, you had
dirty, bro.
Wait,
that was pretty rough.
That was pretty
rough. You had me at the clap.
Oh, or Gone in 60 Seconds and Fast and the Furious. No?
Whoa.
Sorry.
There's a line that we do not cross.
Or Paul Walker in A Tight Turn. It goes together just like that.
Like a 3-point or 4-point harness in a Porsche.
Yeah, something. Anyway, so let's get into this. You're the leading expert, so lead away there, Pathfinder.
So we had talked about the Denver airport and
how it's a dumb.
We talked about how that was dumb, and then I told you about the actual documents that were released of all the tunnels.
What are you looking at?
Sorry, there was a dog that was shitting himself, I swear, in the room. And I had to make sure that he was taken out of this situation.
Okay, fair enough. And you're
and it's like 3,000 degrees in my office. I don't even know why. So it smells like hot dog shit in here. So
I'm like, I'm watching you, and
I'm
I'm like, did you all of a sudden get Tourette's, dude? Like,
dude,
what's
I'm having
happening?
a fucking seizure. Anyway, so
Did you
the
just Michael
thought,
J. Fox us?
dude, 100%. I'm just like all over. It's hot dog shit and natty light in here.
Fuck, man.
So I'm like
sounds like
sweating
Okinawa all over again.
inside. Yeah, seriously.
Sounds
So,
hot.
and then there was the maps that I talked about that were released that are legitimate FOIA requested maps, and the maps show the tunnels that go basically from the East Coast to the West Coast. And what one of the thoughts was is that there was high-speed maglev trains, higher speed meaning over 600 miles per hour, because they were in a vacuum sealed tube. So basically, you could get these things up to 1,000 miles per hour, and you could get to and from LA in, LA to Utah in 30 minutes.
That'd
And
be awesome.
there's stories that I've seen of people that go to work in a regular looking office building in California. They get in the elevator, they go down,
Men
get
in
on the
Black, bro.
train, blast over to the base, and then there's a secretary there. Wife needs to talk to her husband. Calls, oh yeah, he'll be back here in 30 minutes. I'll have him call you then. Or hey, we're on our way to see him. Or hey, we just showed up. Oh, he's in a meeting. He'll be back in 30 minutes. And then you just hit the freaking emergency bell, and Joe Schmo jumps back on the train, blasts back to LA in this office building, comes up the elevator, walks out of the conference room. That type of thing. So it's and this is something that one guy has talked about. He used to go to this building, and one day he started feeling sick, and he was in the dump, and he went to the doctor at the facility, uh, got a shot, went home, got up the next day to get ready for work,
And his dick fell off.
put all of his stuff on,
Oh no.
and he left to go to he got in his car, and then he couldn't remember where he went to work. He couldn't remember where he had worked for the last 15 years.
Because he
Checked
got the
his pay stubs, and it was from a DFAS accounting code. So it was Cleveland DFAS he was getting his money from, which is, for those that don't know, that's a line of accounting from federal government. You get paid through Kansas. When you work for the federal government, usually most, if not all cases. And his wife had gone to the office building and showed him where the office building was, and went, and he had no access. Nobody was there. So basically they had took him, shot him full of shit, and erased his memory. He didn't know he knew what he was, what he did, what his degree was. Couldn't remember what he worked on for the last 15 years. But they did the what is it? The regression therapy.
Yeah.
And he started to remember stuff. So I don't know. It's a whole thing where, there's a whole lot of signs that point to it being true. These tunnels are there. We know the tunnels are there for sure. So unless you're planning on going on a very, very long unimpeded road trip through these tunnels, which you're still gonna be driving for a really long time.
Yeah, I want to get access to that.
No, I'm good.
Or you jump on a train and hit 1,000 miles per hour in a few minutes, and you're there.
I just don't. I'm not. I'm actually good. Not like here's my line for things that I'm okay with. Like, I'm okay with aliens. I'm okay understanding the government is fucking shady and dirty, and what they do in the dark. I don't need to know. Like, the less that I know, the happier that I am, because I've done operations overseas that were with force guys or SEALs, and we inserted them and whatever, and not a big deal, because we didn't do the cool operation. We just helped insert them, right? We just helped put them in wherever the hell they were going, and those are just surface level covert things. But I really don't give a fuck about a lot of that stuff, and the reason why I don't is because I really like breathing. Like, I don't need a fucking a drone
I think that
mosquito
I
to
think that
fly
puts
over and put some cardiac arrest shit in my fucking when it bites me.
I know, but it's totally coming, right?
Oh yeah, it's totally. I mean, here's the thing: it's
the
like I don't
cardiac
deny
arrest by mosquitoes is
but
what's
they already
coming.
doing it.
I mean, that freaking Bill Gates is already trying to get the goddamn jibby jab fucking put in mosquitoes and things that bite for those who didn't want to get it the first time.
Yeah, fuck them.
So it's like, and then they're talking about putting in food and this and that and the other. It's like they're trying to get you no matter what, even if you didn't want it. So
It's like
if
taxes.
somebody's pushing something that if somebody's pushing something that hard, is it good?
No, but it's
Is it
definitely
for the
probably better than
benefit?
pushing rope. I mean, they're definitely pushing rope.
Fuck, I'd rather push rope.
I'd way rather push rope. So, okay, so how does that stuff relate to paranormal stuff? So, do you think that we learned that from the aliens that were already here? Or do you think that's like the aliens that we've made friends with that like what do you think?
I think that's just like basic science, right? We know maglev, right? So it's just a succession of magnets that pull a train along a track.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we can get it to go 600 miles per hour, but we know that we can get it to go a whole hell of a lot faster in a vacuum.
Interesting, because Ryan and I were talking about magnets last night. Did you ever call them? Did you ever figure out what you call the magnetic pole?
No,
They're not
no. What is
gootrons. That's what you used last
Did you
night.
say
I was
gooch? It's
like,
a goochtron.
The
I fucking pulled it. I
gootrons.
just pulled some bullshit out of.
Gootrons.
Goo.
He's like, let's call them gootrons for right now. He's like, you know what the Earth's magnetic pole is? I was like, no, I have no fucking clue.
It's gootrons.
I am not Isaac Dynamite. Okay, I don't fucking know. And he's like, the Earth's magnetic pole is zero point 0.5 gootrons. Call them gootrons because we're drinking. And I was like, okay, fine. He's like, you know what the magnetic pole is in a fucking MRI machine? I was like, not a fucking clue. It's like 10,000 gootrons. I was like, that's a lot of gootrons, bro.
It's
Yeah,
called,
that can really get your gooch going.
it's
Yeah,
it's called Gauss, Gauss. So
super close.
it's a G.
Samsonite.
Starts with a
Samsonite.
G.
I was
It's
way
right there on
off.
the briefcase.
Fucking way off.
Hey,
Fuck.
I had the G and the U right.
Gooch.
Fuck, man.
That's
So
like I think the trains are legitimately just to get people to and from work. Okay, there's
What
the
work? Why? What? I want the job that somebody says this is an important enough job that I'm willing to put you on a train that you really shouldn't know about in the first place, that I'm gonna blank your fucking mind over when you're done with the work. I want to know what that work is.
I think the reason why none of us have ever gotten those works is because
we're dumb.
we're not the type of people that like to lie to other people.
Oh yeah, that's
No,
actually
if we were dumb, we would be in a deep underground military base,
100%.
no,
and we're
Or
not.
if
no,
So
or if
no.
we were ones that were just trying to throw people under the bus for you know, self promotion and just trying to advance ourselves, we would be those people.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what like Stephen Greer talks about, right? Like if you're a narcissist, you're in.
Yeah. We don't have the right
Like a
mental. We
real,
don't
like
have the
a
right
we
mental
we're not
profile.
sociopaths. Yeah, I
Yeah.
yeah,
mean, yeah. So like, so he talks about that, and I thought initially like narcissist, but like I'm like, well, humans in general have narcissistic qualities regardless. Doesn't matter. But then he goes into it like these people are legit sociopaths, and I was like, oh, and they're running the world. No wonder the world's fucked. Because the greater good people are on the surface level, and we're just trying to fucking help the dude on the side of the road who's got a flat tire,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And they're in there. They're like, oh, hey, by the way, 0 point energy, which we learned from fucking reverse engineering alien technology, or people found it out on their own because
Well,
we've
see,
been.
I think a lot of people found it out on their own
I agree.
because it's I think that it's not a very hard thing to master or come up with
Mm.
if you know what the fuck you're doing with electricity and your gootrons and shit, you know.
By the way, if you're
I love
if
that
you
I love that we made a new term. I'm
Oh yeah.
all in on
Well, I
you
mean,
that.
the Earth
you made the new term.
the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, right? So there's got to be some kind of conductivity in this bitch.
I think
And
your
if I
sign
can,
off by the way, hold on real quick. I think your sign off should be stay Gucci, you Gucci motherfuckers.
Gootrons. I
Anyway,
love
go
that.
ahead.
I think we could do better. That was terrible.
I think
It could
I
be
think
something.
Gootrons are those things you put in fucking soup.
No, you're
I
thinking
thought those were oyster crackers, man.
yeah, or yeah. I thought they were just like fucking
Oh, that's
any crackers.
bouillon. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I could take a fucking copper pipe and fucking shove it down in the ground 6 feet, and then put something on top of it and power my whole house for free, better fucking believe I'd do it.
Ryan's in on that, by the way.
I'm all
I'm
in.
telling you, dude, that 0 point energy, it's a real thing, and it's
Well,
being protected. And just like I said last time, I think the long con is if they freaking tank the dollar, ta-da, here it is. Here's everything that goes with it. Suck it, oil. We don't need you anymore. Game over.
well, the interesting about the second oil thing, we don't need you anymore. You still need oil for lubrication. Just always a thing. But
There's KY.
KY
Also petroleum
jelly,
based,
petroleum based.
water based. But the thing is if
Whatever.
you're not,
Spitworks.
That's Vaseline you're thinking of.
yes,
Man,
that is the
you're old.
petroleum jelly.
You're acting older than me.
The petroleum jelly.
Yeah, you're old. That's old school.
Yeah.
So I think there's a duality on that.
Petroleum jelly causes babies.
You would know.
Okay. Brown babies.
He's like, I don't understand.
No,
What's
totally got it.
petroleum jelly?
So I think on the 0 point energy and probably on a lot of the things in the world, I think there is a duality, right? So this is the paranormal segment, which was turned into conspiracy segment, which is both now. But like the idea is, from my perspective, I think that 0 point energy is actually a combination of two things. So I think the 0 point energy, humanity has naturally found its course and possibly developed multiple pieces of it. But I also think that in many cases, and even in like Tesla's case, I would think like Nikolai Tesla, I think that he had interactions with beings that weren't from this universe or this galaxy or this not this universe, but this galaxy or this solar system that sparked the idea, right? Like I think
Like
that
you
that's
think he was in contact with something?
yeah. I don't
Yeah,
think
oh
that
yeah. I
I
think
think
half of the engineering ideas that come around is something that is literally out of this world, right? I mean, if you look at the beginnings of Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, like that's pretty impressive. Radio frequencies, even back in the day, were something that was like super unreal. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
So I
the transmission of power is the way Tesla described it. Really isn't anything different from Bluetooth or
Right.
a cell network.
I think that's right. I think the idea behind that is, I don't know. I don't know. There's
I
a
think
lot to it. There's
yeah.
a lot to
I
it.
think but Alex wasn't part of our conversation last night, but we kind of encroached on the topic of God and creationism and alienism and I think that beings outside of our realm of existence in the sense that you know I think there's so much technology that did we just come up with it or was it something that we were helped with? And I think it's probably in a lot of instances the latter.
I think so too. I think that that's a reality. You know. What do you think, Al?
I think it's less alien. I think that it's if we've had help along with like the power thing. I think where it kind of overlaps is you have 0 point energy and a lot of these ships and things like that or supposedly flying off of like anti-gravity propulsion. But my question is you get that out of the Earth's atmosphere, or you get it somewhere that's extraterrestrial. So
I,
you're not on any kind of gravitational plane in space, right?
So they say.
I think there are a lot of I think there are a lot of things around us that are outside of our plane of understanding and knowledge. And I think when I say it's interesting because people kind of look at me odd often when I say, well, God made da da da. I'm like, well, that's why God made X, or that's why God made X, and they're like, God didn't make that. I'm like, well, didn't God make you, or didn't God make man, and in His image, or what have you, and gave us, basically gave
Gave
us
the
the
idea.
insight to, yeah, gave us the insight to be able to create, so it's a roundabout, it's a blanket statement, and but I think, if you look at, like you're saying, I don't know that maybe you're right in the sense that it's not alien infused per se, the engineering thoughts and ideas and mastermind stuffs, but perhaps it's something that helps us tie into, they say we use 10% of our brain. Maybe individuals that are coming up with those kinds of uh, innovations and insights and the new technologies, maybe they're using 15% of their brain.
Well, and
Uh,
I think that the 0 point, I think that was just kind of a natural progression, and I think it's just been locked away and kept down. Now the anti-gravity stuff, I think that's definitely extraterrestrial and comes from somewhere else.
so
But like we are and like we do, we've mastered it and we
mm,
figured it out. And clearly it works in space because they're talking about the secret space program and things like that. So my query would be, does it work in outer space because it's anti-gravity, and that
there's
propulsion will work because you're making the bubble around the ship, or are you using gravity from the sources around you? That would be my query about that.
I just don't when it comes to that stuff, I just don't have the knowledge base, nor will I probably ever in this lifetime to really wrap my brain around the physics behind those things. But what I do think in this aspect, so I think that maybe whether it's natural progression or not, something inspires somebody to do something. And if you, I'll use like the mead process that we have now as an example. Well, so there's the process that existed before, and then there's the process that I created. But I was inspired to do that because I knew that there was a better way. The
After
inspiration
Was that
after,
after the extraterrestrial anal probing?
no, no,
Yeah.
it was before. I just drank that as a cheers afterwards because it felt good.
Oh, okay.
It was the white lightning. I rode the lightning afterwards because it was like, oh man, now I have to celebrate
Did you
that.
did you tell them cheers, motherfuckers, too, as they
Yeah,
left and flew
yeah.
off in the
They're the ones who inspired me to say that on the
They're the ones
TikTok, the
who
first
said
ones.
cheers, and he was like, motherfuckers,
Motherfuckers.
reaching for his ass,
Yeah, I know, like they didn't even give me a kiss goodbye. It's
right?
fucking bullshit.
That's a
uh,
terrible date.
Fucking horrible.
encounters of the third kind.
But
Right.
yes, so I think they have to, that's of the sixth kind.
Of no
Um,
encounters from behind.
oh, right.
Right.
I think that they have to go together, right?
Hmm.
Because if you're going to run a gigantic, like, anti-gravity generator on this huge football-sized spaceship, you're going to need some kind of 0 point energy
Did you say
source.
huge football size?
Football field size.
Oh, that's better. I
He
heard
forgot
football
he
size.
forgot the failed part.
You
Yeah.
forgot the field part.
Yeah.
Football,
Football
Foosball's the
field
devil.
size. Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense.
football field size ship, and you're going to need some kind of energy source. So either turning off that same ship that's causing the anti-gravity reaction,
Hmm.
or you have some kind of 0 point energy generator just sucking shit out of the universe so you can power your fucking lights and toasters and microwaves.
It makes sense. It makes sense. So I think from the overall perspective, right? So a couple of funny moments today. So I blew Ryan's mind when I talked to him about Neil deGrasse Tyson, who he doesn't know who is, by the way, which is interesting.
Hmm.
Right.
Interesting that I don't know something, or because
No, that you don't know who
I'm a
that.
know-it-all. Is that what
No,
I just heard you say?
no. You're.
Just so you didn't know him.
Dude, he's
So I'm the silver.
he's in your realm.
He's like a very famous smartass.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, I like him already then.
Super.
Very
And
smart.
I think I'm having a tombstone moment. I'm like, oh, I think I like him
Yeah,
already.
he's literally a fucking rocket scientist, isn't he?
no, he's
Or
an
like a
astrophysicist.
physicist?
He's an
Yeah,
astrophysicist.
physicist.
He's like
Oh,
the astrophysicist who took like the theories he has are
um,
stronger than Stephen Hawking's, which we talked about last night.
I'm way far from that smart.
There's a few things that I think that other people have better ideas than him
There are definitely
on.
yeah, but like overall, on the whole, Preparation Age feels good.
Around and on.
um, yes.
Yes, Preparation H does feel good on the whole.
I
Anyway,
was like, no,
he doesn't get
Hmm.
the
no,
reference. He has no clue.
Oh,
It's an
I
awesome
get
no,
hat.
I
It's an
get
no,
the
awesome.
no,
reference. Are you talking about Ryan doesn't get the reference? Or me?
No, I was saying you. You were just like you were going down the path of having
no,
you know
no gold member for you.
I was
no
just
gold
leaving it
member for you.
alone so you didn't come back to it, but here we
Mm,
are.
I'm never gonna not.
he, he has
You
he
know what?
obviously has some trauma
I'm
with
never gonna give
preparation
you
age.
up. I'm gonna never let you down.
You're gonna
I'm never gonna
rickroll me.
turn. I'm gonna never turn
Uh,
around and hurt you.
Yeah.
oh my God, can we just go back to country, please?
Who is that guy that does the
You all
to the
just got
window to the
rickrolled.
walls?
You guys all fucking get rickrolled. I love it. Anyway, I think so. I had a conversation with him talking about how like our solar system is actually traveling on an axis through space. So we're like
I
it's
like this. I can follow that.
eh,
That I
eh,
follow well.
Anyway, so we're traveling on an axis through space. The sun is the driving piece that's pulling us through, and we're just circling around the sun as it's pulling us through space. And like the look on Ryan's face is like, I'm just not drunk enough to have this conversation.
I don't understand.
I'm like,
We are
So,
doing some gummies and we're gonna fucking talk about it again, and it's gonna be super fucking awesome.
man,
um,
killing me, Smalls.
so it's been like a couple thousand years since we've been in the space that we're in right now. Going along with that point, where we're hurtling through space, we are orbiting the sun, but we're just flying through space, and we're in a different part of space now than we've been for the last 1 to 2,000 years. So there's a whole lot of talks of, is Planet X real? Is Planet X really out there, and are we going to see it, or are we already starting to see it because people have started posting videos?
What the fuck is
Look,
Planet X? Is that Pluto?
no, it's a totally
Pluto's
different planet.
Pluto's dead. Pluto's dead to the planets.
No,
Yeah,
they brought it back.
Pluto got ostracized, I thought.
No, they brought it back.
it's been kicked out and brought
It's like
back. It's
it's
kind
like
of like
Uranus, then Uranus, and now Uranus again.
it's like JT the
Mm.
strip club. Like they keep letting him back in, and he keeps touching the strippers, and they kick him out again.
Bye bye.
It's the
Bye
beard.
bye. Bye bye. No, no. That's the no no spot.
That was not my fault. They touched the beard. Just about.
But yeah, so it's a hypothetical planet X, and it's basically it has a gravitational pull, um, close to the sun, but it's smaller and possibly habitable, but we only get to see it every 1 or 2,000 years. It was labeled Planet X.
Is that where the reptilians came from?
So I don't know if
You'd have to have
they're
thick skin if you're that close to the earth or close to the sun.
so it goes by the other name Nibiru.
Ooh, wait, hold on. There's an Egyptian fucking legend with that, and a bunch of other things. That's like a Stargate thing.
The Nibiru Cataclysm.
Fucking
So
weird.
Planet X and Nibiru are one and the same,
Ooh.
and we're
Is
coming up. We're
Nibiru from the new Marvel movie, the Black
I,
Panther sequel?
I have no idea what
I've
that is,
not. What the
but
fuck?
No, I'm
Oh.
being facetious. I
but
never heard of either.
I'm just saying, like, Hollywood puts shit in fucking movies just so they can be like, haha, we told you before it was gonna happen, you dumb idiots. But we're coming
AI.
up on that 2000 year rotation where we're going to see it, and it causes cataclysm and all hell to break loose here because of the gravitational pull, and we're supposed to get close to it. That's the theory, right?
Is
Whether
that
it's
what made the dinosaurs extinct?
No, I'm pretty sure that was just God. But there's lots of people who think that it wasn't 65 million years ago either. I think that it was,
Like,
6,500 to 12,000 years ago that these stupid dinosaurs were walking around.
And bro, don't tell your son that, bro. Don't even fucking tell your son that, because he will have a fucking cardiac arrest.
He'll have
I've already told
a meltdown.
him. Already told him.
He's prepared.
They haven't even found a full T-Rex skull. I think the most they found of a T-Rex is like 15 bones or something like that in Montana.
Of all places. And why would that be? If they were so prevalent and roamed the earth, and like, it can't be that there's just one every other state.
They weren't fucking real.
Because they were dragons.
Well, where the fuck did all of our oil come from then?
Decomposing everything.
No, so there's a whole other thing about primary water, and primary water and oil come from the same place, because now they're finding that
is that because oil and water don't mix?
I have a question. Real quick, I have a question. Time out before we go down all of these paths, because now we have months of podcasts coming up.
Yes.
Okay, real quick. I feel like I'm a pretty well rabbit hole guy. Like, I can go down rabbit holes pretty quickly, and I can go down these things.
I feel like I've never been down a rabbit hole in my fucking life when I listen to you guys.
Right. So I went down the mead rabbit hole. I went down the falconry rabbit hole. I've been down the fucking beehive, the beekeeping rabbit hole. I have all of those things as a hobby. Now I have this thing that's also now consuming my soul. Sasquatch and giants are the main focus that I like. And Alex, I have never heard fucking 75% of the shit that you say.
I feel like
I'm like, what the fuck? Where do you have time in a day?
Yeah.
You have a full-time job. You're apparently a baseball coach. Very Tom Hanks in fucking fried green tomatoes guy in my mind, or whatever it was. The fucking League of Their Own. A League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own. Okay, I was like, what the fuck is that?
God help
Whatever.
us.
Same actresses. I didn't give a shit. And then you also are the COO for the Bearded Viking. No wonder. I'm just trying. I'm like, are you falling asleep to fucking weird shit?
I'm thinking he takes too much melatonin, because I'm like, I've heard horror stories of people taking melatonin and they have just these weird fucking crazy dreams and they have these violent thoughts when they're sleeping. And after listening to you guys, I'm like, oh man, I gotta stop walking the dogs and checking out the clouds and having these serenity moments. I need to find the black holes and the rabbit holes and the darkness. And
you once asked me how I actually have got to the point where I just accept the world for being terrible, and shit happens. These rabbit holes. It's literally it's like,
I'm I like my clouds and the blue skies.
I was gonna say, do we want to take and rip Ryan's virginity?
You're gonna ruin me. I mean, how old? I feel like
he's too old for us to just rip his pleasure away.
How have I gotten this old and been so blind and unseeing and the lack of knowledge?
The thing it's so here's how you cross the river and you no longer have Brian's rants. Okay, here's how you cross the river. I'm gonna give you a little token, like two little pennies on the eyes for Karen, the toll keeper, right? Here's how you do it.
I want $50. That's $50.
Find 50-cent pieces. We got you. Don't worry. I'll even put a Sacagawea fucking $1 on your fucking eyeballs.
Yeah.
We in. So here's how you cross the bridge so you have nothing to rant about. When you go down these dark holes and your meadery all of a sudden needs a new fucking septic system, please, by the way, we're starting GoFundMe, send us money. By the way, but when you see that happen and you read about all the dark shit that's actually really happening, you're like, well, at least I didn't get fucking my hand cut in half by a
I think
fucking laser beam and
I
get
think
and
I
watch a
think Jeffrey Epstein.
99% fucking casualty shit happen from fucking aliens underground in a place that I don't ever going to talk about.
Well, the
I
thing
think
is,
I think
like,
Epstein's death affected you too much.
No, Epstein's death is just like surface level shit and it's terrible and it's a bunch of bullshit. But like you just can't like here's the thing. Like you look at the world holistically. And in a holistic aspect, you have a balance typically between good and bad, and good, bad are constructs of the human mind. But the reality is, it's never out of balance. So there is no greater good, and there is no darker evil. It's just terrible and great. Or
I think
I
it's
feel
all in
like
what
that.
people believe in, though, too.
I
I
feel like
think
that
people
kid in
drive it.
Shazam.
Mhm.
I feel like
Shazam.
that kid. Yeah, I feel like that kid in Shazam, where all of a sudden he's just like this got fucking great
You
life, things
got
are going
fucking
smooth,
superpowers.
and then he fucking fell down this fucking black rabbit hole of stupidity, found out he had superpowers, and then everything just went fucking dumb from then on in his life. And now the second Shazam's like even darker. I'm like, oh man,
So
I
what are you
don't want to.
saying?
I
Are
don't
you
want to
saying
be.
that?
I don't want to be dark.
Oh,
I
you
like
want
my
to
clouds and my blue
you want the
skies and the
blue
greater good.
you want the blue pill. You don't want to taste steak.
He wants the
Or you
blue
want to taste
skies
steak, but
I
you don't
love.
want
I
smiling
love
at him.
steak. I love
yeah,
the way that they tell me that steak tastes.
Listen, dude, I've been going down these rabbit holes for like 15 years, and
so like half your life.
I've worked from home for no. Uh,
Pretty fucking close.
I mean, that's minus 5 years. Give me more of that. But
Okay, fine. A third of your life.
but I've also worked from home for 13, and I'm very good at having a podcast over here and listening to something going on over here while I'm doing this, or once I'm caught up, reading a whole bunch of shit really fast before I jump back into the next thing.
So what you're
So,
saying is you don't have any hobbies.
well, not if I'm staring at this fucking thing for 8 hours. Hobbies kind of go out the window when you have to stare at it for 8 hours. But after that,
Then I drink,
then we're doing
and then
shit.
and
Then
then
I
it
have to
all
drink
makes
because of
sense.
all the fucking shit that I just read.
Okay, got it.
Oh man.
But yeah,
We don't.
we can action pack this fucking podcast, like right fucking here, or just spread it out over the next like 15 episodes.
Well, we have a lot to talk about because I have like the next episode. We're going down the giant hole. We are revisiting
Are we
giants.
not doing
I have
phrasing
some.
anymore?
No. I said what I said on purpose. It's fine. I am going to talk about some new shit that I found out about fucking giants, and it's a fucking trip.
I bet you it's shit that I've already heard.
Yeah,
Ooh.
well, I'm probably maybe.
I'm excited.
I'm gonna say probably.
I'm excited to be tested.
I'm gonna say fucking plausible.
Possible. It's possible.
Yes. See, I am influential. See how that goes?
Is that what we're
I,
going with?
yeah. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I nice to meet you, influential. I'm JT. You can call me
If
Viko the
only
Bearded One.
if only I was more technologically competent where I could be an influencer. Yeah. Yeah.
You
No.
don't twerk enough for that.
No.
No,
Wait. Did you say twerk or torque? I'm not. I don't know. Is that the same thing?
there's still a lot of torque in those old hips.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, I can sit and spin like the rest of them.
Fucking awesome. Well, gentlemen, we have a lot to lead into next week. And you know what? Unfortunately, Ryan is in his zen. I want to let you guys know that he is potentially closing
Oh,
on some property.
Eh, I
that's
call
crazy talk.
bullshit.
I don't know. That dude's always full of
It's
talk, and
it's been
he
ripped
he
away from
fucking
him so many times.
he analyzes to paralyzed, and I
He,
don't know about that guy.
Paralysis by
I have,
analysis for sure.
yeah, for real. I have literally walked more properties here and got to know my neighborhood, if you will call that whatever it is, the mountainside, because of this motherfucker. Way more. I've walked up and down.
I bet you it's
Y-
gonna come Friday and he's gonna be like,
Nah,
I
nope.
don't think it's the right one.
I don't
I
like the
don't think
verb.
I
I don't
want
like
this
the
one.
verb. The verbiage in that paragraph doesn't work for me.
Yeah,
I'm out. I'm done.
yeah. Sorry.
Fucking
I don't like the way
sabotage.
that hill goes.
Yeah, he's
Sabotage.
like,
Yeah.
I want a place that's got a sunset. It's got
Blue
riverfront
skies
riverfront
and
property,
clouds.
and it's got to have trees, and it can't have more than like a third of the property be a fucking ravine. And by
Yeah,
the way, I want it for $2 an acre.
And I want
that's
one
it.
turkey on it.
That's it.
I was
You know,
wow.
as you well know and have learned by me traipsing you all over your own neighborhood, that that pretty much those things do exist, just not here. And if they are here, they're exorbitantly pricey. And if they're not here, they're in Kalispell and even more exorbitantly pricey. And so yeah, I've gotten to the point where you just have to go with what's available for your quote unquote budget, right?
Mm.
And
I wouldn't say
I am
quote unquote unbudget. I would just say
3 years
straight
later.
budget. Not
yeah,
wrong, actually. Today, 3 years
yeah.
later.
3 years next month is when we first went to over up towards northwestern
That
Montana
is
and
fucking rip the
looking for
band-aid
property up
off.
there, right?
Fuck, man.
Bro, you haven't even been part of the walk.
No, it's just painful to see just
You should
all
be
the
part of the fucking walk. He's like, it says it has riverfront property. And I'm like, bro, that's a fucking cliff. I don't know, man. This says riverfront property.
I can
Oh,
see it.
we walked to the cliff.
I'm like, let's go
The
find it. So we go find it, and that turns out to be a literal like cliff jumping walkabout.
like the cliffs of Dover bullshit.
fun.
Maybe not, maybe not quite that high,
Pretty
but
fucking close.
the long end of the short end of the long of it is that it's finally coming to fruition. Never, there's nothing in wet ink yet, so we'll see. But it's 3 days away.
I don't want
Is
wet
there
ink. I
like
want
is
dry
there like
ink.
a yeah, I want drying too. Is there like a cabin on it or is it
No,
just
No,
straight
that's
land.
the fucking
Nothing.
dude, nobody builds anything out here. There's fucking no contractors that'll commit to fucking anything, and even if they do, they fucking flake the fuck out, and so you got to do it all yourself. But then if you do it all yourself, what the fuck? Takes a while.
So would you say that the contractors got you over a barrel regardless? Would they got you coming and going?
Oh, they don't. I mean, they're coming and going, and they don't give a shit where you are.
oh, at least somebody's coming.
Somebody's breathing heavy.
It's
Right?
never you.
No, if you find a property up here with that has actually, infrastructure and buildings on it, it jumps from 5 or 6 or 7 grand an acre up to 10 to 12 to plus. So
So you're buying acreage without water, without
No,
power,
it has a running
without
stream
it
on
has,
it.
sewer.
yeah,
It has
it doesn't have a well. It's got electricity in the vicinity, but that's pricey as fuck to get in. So it's theoretically it's an off-grid property, which
So are you
there's
gonna like
most.
create a hydro generator on the river
Yeah,
to power your home?
I'm gonna bring up my conspiracy theorist friend that has a lot of knowledge with regards to magnetic poles, zero point energy, and fucking copper rods, and make that fucker work for me.
he's not smart. He
You're
just
gonna
knows
get his
stuff.
No,
gonna
I mean, fuck, he's Mexican. He could probably do it really cheap.
gonna get us both killed, but then it just becomes a hate crime if they kill me.
Right? I'm okay. I don't know.
No,
So
no. They'll just
here's
call you
the
cartel,
here
bro.
yeah, here's the other problem is there's fucking granite on the property, so I'm a little freaked out by that.
You are so
Yeah.
fucked. You're so not gonna
Oh
He's
sign
yeah.
for that on
Dude,
Friday.
and that's the problem is I fucking walk my dogs alone all the time, but apparently, we've been in granite before, so maybe the dogs are protecting me, I
Ho-
suppose.
I mean, hold on real quick. So at Current Creek, we were definitely surrounded by granite all the fucking time. And then
Mhm.
magically, your fucking walkie-talkie doesn't work, but mine and Al's do, and Bond's does, and
Yeah.
fucking even Kurt and fucking Tom's did.
I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's my magnetic pull.
It could be. We're gonna have to put a copper rod in your
It's your
ass and see if your
Gootron.
radio starts
You have
working.
too many Gootrons.
I got a lot
Yeah.
of Gootrons.
Way
All
too
the
many Gootrons.
Gootrons.
My Gootrons have not been out in a while.
Well, gents, it's been a pleasure. It's time for us to sadly say see you next week. So before we sign off, I just want to do a shout out to the Bearded Viking Mead Company and the Bearded Viking Company as an overall. Thanks for letting us be fucking idiots, even though you don't know what we're doing, but we do. And I'd also like to do a huge shout out to Rogue Industries. Reach out to Justine. She'll take care of you. If you reach out to Alex, he'll send you to Justine anyways, so it's fine. Look them up for all of your apparel needs. If you are looking for a great logo to be designed, hit up our boy Rudy over at Boss Graphic Design. Give him the promotion code thicker than a Snicker, and he will probably do that shit for free. Especially if you really are thicker than a Snicker.
Or if you fucking bring a Snicker.
Absolutely. Go give our friends over at Irreverent Warriors a follow. If you're a veteran, find out where the next Silky hike is. Go meet up, hang out with people that are just as dumb as we are in person. And if you are at those events, we'll probably be at one of them eventually where we meet you. So go out there and do that. As always, I am Viko the Bearded One.
And I'm the Jarl Classy Beardos.
And I'm Doc. Here's the blue sky. Oh my god, I've had too much beer. Blue skies and fluffy clouds. Fuck you, you fucking fucks.
That's way better. Cheers, motherfuckers. I love it. I love it. Fucking blue skies and fluffy cows.
You've played this game before. Your mind was made up. Once you walk through the door.